So Google just released an article I thought was fascinating. They examined 13,000 of the year's most successful YouTube ads from across the world, and they pulled those learnings into a single article. I'm going to link to that article below in the description, but there were a few that I wanted to highlight because they're particularly valuable to us as YouTube advertisers. So the first, they mentioned that a lot of the top performing ads don't feel like ads. This isn't a shocker to me. But what they say, and I quote, is, in general, the top performing ads had a DIY feel that fit right in with the viewer's favorite YouTube content. Now, this is incredibly empowering for you and I as advertisers that have brands to grow. You don't need a massive budget to have success with YouTube ads. In fact, the top performing ads prove otherwise. As long as you have a strong message that your marketplace resonates with, you can get YouTube ads to work for your brand. Speaking of brands, the next pattern that they mentioned was branded content. So specifically that brands are reaching out to creators, sponsoring content, and then using that content in advertisements. You may have watched in a previous video that I mentioned that this is one of the newer features that YouTube is rolling out. It's currently in beta, but it's YouTube Brand Connect. And the whole idea behind it is it makes it simpler for brands to sponsor content and then use that content as ads. One of the stats that they did mention here was that 98% of viewers say they trust YouTube creators more than creators on other social media platforms. I mentioned that in the video. One of the biggest benefits of this approach is that you're essentially borrowing trust from an established creator. I foresee this being a really big pattern going into 2025 and beyond. It's something that I'm particularly paying a lot of attention to. Another third, and to be frank, the way it's worded in the article is kind of nebulous, but I will try to give a bit more detail that's usable for you. They mentioned that the length of YouTube ads allows you to be much more creative. So specifically what they're attempting to say here is that with traditional TV spots where you might be limited to 15 or 30 or 60 seconds, with YouTube ads, you can create an ad as long or as short as you actually want. This ends up being a massive benefit, assuming that you bring creativity to the table. Now, the way they flesh out that argument isn't very clear. They throw out a couple of stats that, quite frankly, don't feel like they're necessarily placed so well. But there is one piece that stood out to me as interested in that section, where they mentioned about the length of two different videos. So one of them was a video ad by Volvo. This video ad was a 4-minute film. And the other one was a video by Louis Vuitton, which was a 11-minute conversation that they ran as an ad. Now, what is not said here, what's implied, and what I've also seen from my own testing, is that a lot of the limitations that you might have in mind for a video ad really only exist in your mind. A lot of people think that a video ad has to be as short as possible because attention spans are short, or they have some sort of arbitrary number in mind that they have to keep their ad length to. The reality is you should make your video ad as long or as short as it needs to be. So anyway, as mentioned, I'm going to link to this article below. You can read it on your own time, of course. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, go ahead and hit the like button. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.